In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at this folio game from Decision Games. It is called Kasserine, Baptism of Fire. And the game pretty much covers late February of 1943. And the turns, there are 12 turns in the game, but they're not really divided up into specific time levels. It's just that the game is set in late February of 1943. And the game's going to have American players on the map, and then a few will come in as reinforcements. But basically, the Germans are coming in from Libya and moving into Tunisia and through the Kasserine Pass. So their objective is basically going to be to capture three towns: Sabatla, Tebessa, and Thala. And there are other objective hexes marked out further in the backfield. They're going to win the game by capturing at least three of these locations, at least for a moment, you know. And if they don't capture all three, say they capture two, it'll be a draw. If they only capture one or none, the Americans will win. So it's very simple victory conditions. So there are a few special rules in here. There's some rules from minefields, as well as fortified boxes. The American Rangers have the ability to ignore enemy zones of control. There's a need to try to maintain lines of communication. And so that's pretty much how the game goes. It's fairly quick playing. I'm just going to go through the highlights of the game, try to do this in one video. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. So this is the opening rounds of turn one, where the Axis is actually entering on the board. And you can see I've got two lines of attack here in this first picture. And basically the 501 Panzer Company is taking the lead here against, a battalion of Shermans. That's toward the top of the picture here. I've got some flak units there and the 269 Panzer Grenadier Battalion. And you can see both sides have support, but the Americans only have mortars, whereas you can see, an 88 kicking around in there. So what ends up happening is that both sides have an exchange result, and the U.S. armor is flipped over, and the 190 flak is also flipped over. This next picture shows turn two, and here we see the Axis forces are focusing on taking out that depleted Sherman battalion, and you can see the 104th Panzer Grenadier has kind of cut them off, and they are being confronted by a couple of flak units as well. Again, you can see all I can drum up for support here is some mortars. It's just not enough, and the Shermans are wiped out. This next picture shows turn three, and you can see how the Axis has some combined arms here with plenty of support surrounding the American 326 Infantry Regiment. They are in a fortified box, however. So they do launch that attack, and it results in an exchange, and the 326 is eliminated, and the Axis also has to suffer a step loss, which they take out of one of their flak battalions. And then in this next picture, we see the U.S. forces during their part of turn three are moving into position to attempt to defend Sabatla, which is a key location for the Axis to get a hold of in this battle. I guess that's the 2-1 tank battalion holding that position. You can see the 3-1 is blocking the bridge across the Wadi and has got some more armor flanking it. This next picture shows the two battles happening on turn four. On the bottom of the map, you've got the U.S. 1-6 Mechanized Battalion, which is dug in, and it's being attacked by a combined armed force here. And an exchange result comes up, and so the U.S. 1/6 is reduced, and the Axis 269th Panzer Grenadier Battalion is also reduced. And then the top part of the picture shows, or the middle part of the picture shows, the Americans trying to defend Sabatla, and the 33rd Recon, Axis 33rd Recon Battalion, is able to push the 3-1 Tank Battalion out of position. It also suffers a loss, but the German recon unit gets a bridgehead here. This next photo shows what happens during turn 6, and you can see a concerted attack by the Axis player against the American forces in Sabatla. And you've got the 2-1 armored battalion trying to defend there, and there's really a swarm of combined arms forces that are launching an attack against that position. And the result of the battle ended up being an exchange, and the 2-1 Tank Battalion ended up destroyed. During the American part of the turn, the American player decides to try to launch some bombardment against the 1/8 Panzer, and this is somewhat successful. However, as is a problem in bombardment, especially in the fire and movement system, you can have friendly fire. So some American units also took losses from this. So I guess it's a partial success. You can see in this picture, though, Kasserine Pass, which is held right now with a partially held with a German flak brigade. Then on turn 7, the Germans finally launch an attack against Sabatla, and you can see that the 2-1 tank battalion, armored battalion, is got a little bit of support, but we also see some Stukas in there and some German mortars. And this time, finally, Sabatla falls to the Axis. This was a key location for them to control. It's in the center of the map somewhat, but it's also in red, so it is a victory location. On the American part of turn 7, they simply try to scramble to get some defensive positions. You can see the weak defense in Kasserine Pass there, but they have taken some high ground with the 2-6 motorized infantry. Plus, you can see they've got some flak guns also covering their positions. Then going to turn 8, we see the Axis continues to launch their attack, and they're focused on this village in Sabilba, and they are able to drive the 894th assault gun battalion out of the area. They are able to capture that location. The Americans really aren't able to do a whole lot. Also, in the next picture here, we see that the U.S. 601 assault gun battalion is destroyed by a German attack near Buchebka. Going into turn 10, the Axis players realizing time's running out here to capture the places needed for victory, so he's continuing to address the enemy defensive positions. In this picture, you can see a French infantry brigade. It's a very weak unit, but it is covering this key bridge locations across the wadis right along this track. And so the Germans go right after them with their flak units and are able to eliminate the French unit. Then in the next photo here, you can see the U.S. 18th infantry regiment is under attack by the panzers, and they also have some support. The panzers have support of Stukas and some artillery, and so here we witness the demise of the U.S. 18th Infantry Regiment. Then going into turn 11, the Axis continues to aggressively attack. And here in the picture, you can see Stukas are brought in again, along with artillery, to attack the 3-6 Motorized Infantry Battalion. And that ends up succeeding in forcing a retreat. So the Axis forces actually make a breakthrough here, as you can see in the picture. So on the Allied part of the turn, the U.S. player, as shown in the picture, is trying to really form some defensive positions to protect Thala. Thala is that town that has the American flak unit in it at the top of the picture, and that is one of the locations that the Axis needs to try to attack down, but I don't think they're going to get there. On turn 12, the Axis player makes some desperate attacks, but just can't get through this last layer of Allied defenses. So the American player really doesn't need to launch any attacks, because the Axis really only managed to capture one objective, Sabatla, which that fell quite a while ago. So the U.S. wins the game, and as is the title of the game, Kasserine proved to be the baptism of fire for the American troops in World War II North Africa.
Trucking, got my chips canned.